Good day, shooters and reloaders. I'd like to thank you all for stopping by. This is another one of those range updates. I went to the range December the 5th, and that day turned out to be one crappy ass day as far as South Texas weather goes. I was in the lower 40s, raining off and on, sometimes a little hard, sometimes a little softer, but nevertheless, it was kind of a nasty day. Wasn't a good day to be on the range, but it was the day I had available, and it was the only other day that I could get my brother to come along with. So we had to work it out best way we could. Anyway, good thing about it is had some great things happen that day. At least one great thing that I can name right off. Uh, we have been experimenting with these Sierra Game Changers, the 6.5 Grendel. These are 130 grain Sierra Game Changer. They are tip boat tail bullet. They're pretty much a standard cup and core type with a polymer tip, poly tip, whatever you want to call it. And they shoot pretty good normally. Um, this was a bit of an alteration from that shoot good normally theme, though. These are all pull bullets right here. This whole batch of them. I had like 75 of them loaded up, and I decided I didn't want to shoot them the way they were loaded. And I went to pulling them, and I have a collet puller. And I started pulling them, and I guess I'd gotten a little carried away with the crimp. And when I started to pull them, well, it was basically just skinning the brass or the copper pretty ugly like, and wasn't pulling them out as easy as I'd hoped. But I wanted to get them unseated from those cartridges and redo them. So I went ahead and broke out the Lyman impact bullet puller, and it got the job done, except for the fact that almost every one of them ended up with a blunted point. And I don't know if you can see and hear me holding it in front of the camera or not, but every one of them from that crimp has a little bit of a depression right underneath where the case mouth was, and that crimp was at it. So I must have gotten carried away. These bullets are evidently softer than I thought they were, and the normal crimp that I'm using, I need to back off on that quite a bit. So this time when I shot these bullets, I didn't crimp them at all. I just went with the seating tension that I had when I had resized the brass. And by the way, that time when I resized that brass, I did it a different way than usual. Normally, when I resize, I just do a full length resize and go all the way back to whatever this die will take me to factory specs or whatever that is. I normally end up with about 6 thousandths of headspace. This time when I resized, I shortened that down where my headspace was only about 2.5 thousandths, and it seemed to make some difference. It gave me just a hair more case capacity. um, I didn't have any problems this go around with any ejection or cycling issues or anything like that, like I did with the first time I went and shot the 6.5 Grendel gun. The good thing is I got some really great velocities out of these rounds this time. I guess my barrel's getting broken in good, and man, you can sit there and shoot that thing, 10 or 12, 15 shots, and it barely even heats up. I mean, it seems like it's that H type barrel is really doing a good thing. The velocities on the highest charge of that was pretty incredible for this bullet in that gun. 6.5 Grendel is really not known for being a high velocity round, especially when you get up into heavier bullet weights like 130 grain. But this go round here surprised the heck out of me. I got with 30 grains of Shooter's World match rifle, I got 2,580 feet plus average velocity. So that was a real great thing. And I'll throw in some screenshots here of my Caldwell Precision uh, shot group report to let y'all see that, so you won't think I'm just sitting here lying to you.
All right, since I don't have range footage from the day we shot, I'm going to show you this report from the Caldwell ballistic chronograph. This shows the 5 shot data that I collected on that 30 grain load of Shooter's World match rifle with the 130 grain Sierra Game Changer. As you can see, we did that on the 5th of December, which was Saturday, a couple weeks ago. The shot group, first shot was 2597, second was 2600, third 2598, the fourth shot was 2600 again, and the last one was 2583. Minimum velocity was 2583, maximum of course 2600. The extreme spread was 17. The average velocity was 2595.6, and the group size was pretty nasty at 2.63. Look at that standard deviation, 7.16. I was real proud of that. That was really good for what this was.
But on the other end of that, there is this. Just awful. Oh, that's even more awful when it's upside down. This target looks like crap, and I don't know if it's mostly me. I think maybe it was mostly me. Those bullets being, dinged and scuffed and pinched and all that, they may have had some problems in flight themselves. I mean, you can see on some of these, I mean, they actually look like I was trying to group. I mean, this one here with the 29 grains, I actually got a 1.56 group, which is not great by any standards, but for these bullets and the way I was shooting that day, I don't know that that's all that bad. The 30 grain, I mean the 28 grain charge was not horrible, except for that one flyer, and I know that was completely my fault because I was holding on the wrong meal dot. When I pulled the trigger, I realized what I'd done, or that would have been a pretty good group to start with. But with that big old flyer down there, it turned out to be 3 inches. But with that right there, it was just under an inch at 0.995. So call it an inch, close enough. But nonetheless, it wasn't so bad. These dots are 3/4 of an inch. It's the reason why that looks like that's quite a bit more than an inch, but it's actually not. Um, I gotta say, the weather was nasty that day. Like I already mentioned at the beginning of this, it was in the low 40s, raining, and that's for us down here in the south, that's pretty cold, pretty miserable type of day. And I wasn't dressed for it. I had on like a sweatshirt and a long sleeve shirt over that, and a pair of blue jeans, and basically I was sitting there shivering and wasn't wasn't really holding all that well. It was a pretty poor day of shooting, I got to tell you. Um, got done with that. I started trying to shoot some loads that I had made up for the Nosler 90 grain Barmageddon, and I wasn't starting out worth a damn with them. I think my chills were getting after me really, really bad, and I was going to pick it up, put it away, and asked my brother. I said, "Hey, you want to try these?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll try it." And he'd never shot my gun, never looked through the scope, never held it in his hands in his life, and has you know virtually no experience with shooting anything in an AR other than 223. But he got behind the gun, and here he comes along and shoots an inch and a half group, never having pulled the trigger on my gun before in his life. So I thought that was pretty good and pretty good about testament to the bullets themselves. I mean, they could have done better. And then I sat back down and tried one more group, and it come out to almost 2.5 inches. And I said, well, that's enough for me. I'm done. So I didn't finish this group string out. I guess I'll have to do that on the next run. But anyway, I thought that 2,600 feet per second out of a couple of these rounds up here with the 130 grain Sierra Game Changer was incredible for the Grendel. Um, the standard deviation was only 7.16. Average velocity at 25.95. I believe I said 25.80 something a minute ago. But average velocity was 25.95, and extreme spread was, I believe, 17, if I'm looking at that correctly. But that was pretty good. I think the loads that these are, I'm going to go back and get some more of those Sierra Game Changers and load this string again with some new bullets and try this one more round. I think that on a better day of shooting, get my calm down and get behind the scope and get relaxed again, and then shoot some new bullets. I think this will be an incredible load. The brass, I had pictures of it earlier, but I'll go ahead and show you a little quick look at that brass. This stuff, if you can see it, has absolutely zero damage to it. I mean, I think on one or two in this row right here, there is some little I guess you call them ejector swipes, but I'm pretty sure that was from a previous load because this is on a lower charge of 29 grains, and these up here are 30 grains and don't have a mark on them anywhere to see. So just I think this is going to be a really nice load, really nice shooting load whenever I get it perfected. Um, Another thing that I may have messed up when I loaded these rounds. Normally I load them at 2.68 inches. I don't know why, that just seemed like a good number. I shot pretty good at it for a little while, and I pushed these out to 2.8 to get almost near the magazine length. The I have a ASC magazine, ammo storage component magazine, and it's doesn't quite have the clearance in it that like the AR Stoner does. But so far, I haven't been able to buy one of those AR Stoners that likes to run in my gun. So the ASCs seem to do all right. So that's what I'm using, even though they're not quite as uh, generous on the magazine length. So anyway, that's what I did. So I think I'm going to go back to 2.265 or maybe 2.268 as I shot before, and maybe go back to that. I know before when I shot that 30 grain charge, I didn't get that velocity. It was something like 120 feet per second less. So I don't know if that was due to the gun being brand new, barrel being new, then having maybe a pressure spike at the get go from having them loaded short. I'm going to have to work on that and figure that out. But nonetheless, it wasn't that bad, and had a good day. Spent some time with my brother. Hadn't seen him in a long time, so overall it wasn't that bad. I mean, other than having some terrible groups with the Grendel, I mean, I think it wasn't a bad day at all. I think this gave us some good information right here to get some good, better velocity out of this bullet. So I'm going to shoot some more of them. We'll let you know the next time we come around with it how they did. Thank y'all for coming by. If you'd like to donate to my channel, I got a Patreon account. It's over there at Patreon, of course. That is www.patreon.com/Jet2416, Jet with a capital J. Um, One thing I want to mention before I go. My microphone cable's got me tagged. This right here is a Lyman funnel set. It's brand new, I guess you could say. I used it one time with only one of these to load about 30 rounds, and I haven't used it since. It's not that I don't like it. It's that my cartridges are very short. I load 223 and 6.5 Grendel predominantly. Not these other ones are pretty much irrelevant for me right now since I'm not doing any 30 caliber or anything like that. So I just usually just reach and grab my little plastic Hornady universal funnel, and that's what I use. So I'm going to give this away to Patreon supporters. And what's going to happen to get in on the contest, if you go over there and join Patreon at the $3 a month account, the first 100 patrons are going to be put on the list to get this right here. I'll tell you what, instead of 100, it's going to be 50, and I'll put the names of the first 50 on in a list and draw one randomly, and that'll be the giveaway for January. So, or until we get 50 supporters on Patreon, then I'll save this to the side. Okay, so that'll be all. I'm glad y'all came by. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.